back to the third part of the pivot table tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to explain how to visualize the data within the pivot table. In the previous tutorial, we learned how to create a two-dimensional pivot table. I can put all the numbers in the middle. I will keep the first column as the reference. If I select the pivot table, I can go to the Insert tab. Among all the visualization tools, I go to the two-dimensional clustered bar chart. Click on that. So now you can see a bar chart that's showing different size categories. Each category includes different bars with different colors, and each color shows the city MPG category. Again, this graph is not informative enough. We need to add axis titles and the graph titles. So one way to do that is click on your graph. This design pops up here. You can select any design from the predefined chart design in the Excel, but let's start with adding or customizing the elements of the chart by focusing on adding chart elements. So if I click on this icon under the Design tab, I can add horizontal and vertical axis title. I also want to add chart title like this. So this would be frequency of the car size and their city MPG. This would be car size, and this would be frequency. And this is our legend. So I'm going to put a text box up here as a title of legend. Go to the Insert tab. Among all the items in the ribbon, you can find this text box here. So I'm going to click it and bring a text box here. Then in the legend title, I would say City MPG. That's a title for the legend. Okay, now I can select everything and I can change the font, make the graph more representable by increasing the font size. Let's do this. Increasing the font size, I'm going to make this bold, and I'm going to make the titles also bold and italic. This is frequency also, so let's put the frequency with the capital F. Okay, now, and city MPG also bold, increased font and italic. Now I have a better representation, right? Another thing that you can add to make it more readable is just adding the width of the bars so that the reader can understand exactly how many cars are compact and within the 13 to 17 city MPG. So again, click on your graph, go to the Design tab, you can add a chart element, and I'm going to add labels on the, well, you can select any option. My preference is outside end. So now you can see that there are 16 cars that are compact and they are within the 13 to 17 city MPG because we're looking at the blue bar. So here 16 are compact and within this 13 to 17 city MPG. Now let's create a two-dimensional or multi-dimensional pivot table. So I'm going to grab this graph here, put it aside. I'm going to create a multi-dimensional pivot table. So again, instead of starting over, I just copy paste the previous created bar chart. Make sure when you paste, it's still an active pivot table. So now I can summarize this data furthermore by adding more variables to the rows or columns. Let's see how many of these cars also use premium fuel or regular fuel. So I can put this fuel type in the rows. Now you can see for each of the size, which is our first selection, we have premium or regular gas type. So the way we are going to read this number is, for example, 5 cars are compact and they have city MPG of 18 to 22 and they use regular gas type. So this is a 3-dimension pivot table. So you can add other variables either to column or rows, and this will continue to grow this table. And this is an interactive table, so you can just close the third variable and it turns out to be similar to the previous pivot table. You can expand it. I can add another, like a drive. I can add another layer. So for each premium or relative, you can find other category, the 4th variable, all-wheel drive, forward drive, rear drive. And again, this is interactive. You can just close the category or open it. You can also put that in the column. So in each category, you will have 3 other categories. This would be a 4-dimension table. So most of the time, you will create various type of pivot table just to show the dimensions. Majority of time, 3 dimensions. More than 3 dimension makes the pivot table very complex, but still readable for the audience. That's all about the pivot tables, how to read the table, how to visualize the table, and make sure that your visualization also are readable and understandable enough. Make sure that whenever you're creating the pivot table, change the names. You can also, again, sort the items. So if I want to sort these items, I would just go to the one number, right click, sort largest to smallest. So basically when you sort here, it will change the visualizations as well based on those sorting. So you have a summarization that is interactive and you can change anything. Even if you change anything in the data, the table will also be updated.